The DVLA has just confirmed three major changes that could directly affect your driving license, your vehicle registration, or even your ability to stay on the road legally. If you're a UK driver, the next 10 minutes could save you from fines, penalty points, or worse. Don't skip this because what I'm about to share affects millions of drivers across the country, and you need to know if you're one of them. Welcome back to Smart UK Pension, where we bring you the most important updates affecting people across the UK. Now, while our channel primarily focuses on pension matters, many of our viewers are drivers, and these DVLA changes are too significant to ignore. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because we're committed to keeping you informed about changes that matter to your daily life. Right, let's get straight into these three critical DVLA changes that have been confirmed this week. I'm going to explain exactly what's changing, who's affected, what you need to do, and most importantly, the deadlines you cannot afford to miss. The first major change concerns medical condition reporting requirements, and this is particularly relevant for older drivers and anyone managing health conditions. The DVLA has updated and strengthened its guidance on what medical conditions must be reported and the timelines for doing so. This isn't just about being a responsible driver, it's a legal requirement. And failing to comply can result in a fine of up to £1,000 and potential prosecution if you're involved in an accident. Here's what's changed. The DVLA has expanded its list of notifiable conditions and has made the reporting process more stringent. Conditions that now require immediate reporting include any changes to your eyesight that mean you can no longer read a number plate from 20 meters away, any diagnosis of diabetes treated with insulin, epilepsy or seizures, strokes or transient ischemic attacks, heart conditions including arrhythmias and pacemaker fittings, and various neurological conditions including Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, and dementia. Now, you might be thinking, but I've had my condition for years. Why does this matter now? Here's the crucial part. The DVLA is now conducting more frequent cross-checks with medical databases and GP records. They're also working more closely with hospitals and specialists to identify drivers who may not have disclosed relevant conditions. This means that if you've been putting off reporting a condition, thinking it won't be discovered, you're taking a serious risk. The update also clarifies that it's not just about new diagnoses. If your existing condition has worsened, or if your medication has changed in a way that could affect your driving, you must inform the DVLA. For example, if you've been managing diabetes with diet alone, but have now been prescribed insulin, that's a reportable change. If your eyesight has gradually deteriorated to the point where you're struggling with the number plate test, you must report it even if you passed your last eye test. Let me be very clear about the consequences of not reporting. Beyond the £1,000 fine, your insurance becomes invalid if you don't disclose notifiable conditions. This means that if you're in an accident, even if it's not your fault, your insurer can refuse to pay out. You could be personally liable for all damages, injuries, and costs, which could run into hundreds of thousands of pounds. It's simply not worth the risk. The good news is that reporting a condition doesn't automatically mean you'll lose your license. The DVLA will review your case, often requesting additional information from your doctor, and will make a decision based on whether you can drive safely. Many people with conditions like controlled diabetes, stable heart conditions, or managed epilepsy continue to drive with no issues. The key is being honest and following the process. To report a medical condition, you need to visit the DVLA website and complete the appropriate form. There are different forms for different conditions, so make sure you're using the correct one. In most cases, you can continue driving while the DVLA reviews your case, unless you've been specifically told to stop by your doctor. The review process typically takes a few weeks, though complex cases can take longer. Now, moving on to the second major change, and this one affects vehicle registration and the documentation you need to keep updated. The DVLA has announced a crackdown on outdated vehicle keeper records. and has introduced new verification requirements for address changes and vehicle transfers. This is part of a broader effort to combat vehicle fraud and ensure accurate records for enforcement purposes. Here's what's happening. If you've moved house and haven't updated your address with the DVLA, you're now at higher risk of penalties. The DVLA is cross-referencing vehicle keeper addresses with council tax records, electoral roll data, and other official databases. Discrepancies are being flagged, and drivers are being contacted to verify their details. If you don't respond or if your records remain inaccurate, you could face fines and difficulty renewing your vehicle tax or MOT. The new verification requirements mean that when you change your address or transfer vehicle ownership, you may be asked to provide additional documentation to prove your identity and residency. This could include utility bills, bank statements, or council tax documents. The DVLA is also introducing random verification checks, where a sample of drivers will be asked to confirm their details even if they haven't made any changes. Why is this important? Firstly, all official correspondence from the DVLA, including reminders for vehicle tax, MOT, and driving license renewal, goes to your registered address. If you've moved and haven't updated your details, you'll miss these crucial reminders and could end up driving illegally without realizing it. Secondly, speeding tickets, parking fines, and other penalties are sent to the registered keeper's address. If these go unanswered because they're going to your old address, the penalties escalate dramatically. I've heard countless stories of people who moved house, forgot to update their DVLA records, and then found themselves facing court action for unpaid fines they never knew about. In some cases, people have had their licenses suspended or vehicles clamped without any idea why. It's a nightmare situation that's entirely avoidable. Updating your address with the DVLA is straightforward and free. For your driving license, you can update your address online through the DVLA website, and you'll receive your new license with the updated address within a week or so. For your vehicle registration, you need to update the vehicle logbook, which you can also do online. There's no fee for either of these services, so there's absolutely no excuse for not keeping your records current. If you've recently bought or sold a vehicle, make sure the transfer of ownership is properly recorded. Both the seller and buyer have responsibilities here. Sellers must notify the DVLA immediately when they sell a vehicle, otherwise they remain legally responsible for it. Buyers must register the vehicle in their name as soon as possible. The DVLA is now following up on incomplete transfers more aggressively, and both parties can face penalties if the process isn't completed correctly. The third major change concerns digital driving licenses and the phasing out of the paper counterpart. Now, the paper counterpart was officially abolished back in 2015, but many drivers still have them and some have continued to rely on them. The DVLA is now making it absolutely clear that these paper counterparts have no legal validity whatsoever and should be destroyed. More significantly, the DVLA is pushing ahead with its digital driving license initiative, which allows you to access your driving license information through an online account. This digital service shows your current driving entitlements, any endorsements or penalty points, and the status of your license. Employers, car hire companies, and others who need to check your driving status can now do so electronically with your permission. Here's why this matters for you. More and more organizations are requiring digital verification of driving licenses rather than accepting physical photocard licenses. Car hire companies, in particular, are increasingly insisting on the check code system, where you generate a temporary code through the DVLA website that allows them to verify your license details online. If you're not set up for this, you could find yourself unable to hire a vehicle when you need to. The DVLA is also encouraging all drivers to create an online account to manage their driving license and vehicle information digitally. This gives you instant access to your records, allows you to update information more easily, and helps you track when renewals are due. It's a more efficient system, but it does require you to be comfortable with online services. For older drivers who may not be confident with technology, this shift towards digital services can be challenging. My advice is to ask a family member or friend to help you set up your online account. Once it's established, it's actually quite simple to use, and it gives you much better control over your information. Alternatively, you can still use phone services and postal applications, though these are becoming slower as the DVLA prioritizes digital channels. One important point about the photo card driving license itself: these expire every 10 years and must be renewed even though your actual driving entitlement doesn't expire until you're 70. Many people don't realize this and continue driving with an expired photo card. While this doesn't affect your legal right to drive, it can cause problems when you need to prove your identity or your right to drive, such as when hiring a car or starting a new job that requires driving. The DVLA has confirmed that it's tightening enforcement around expired photo cards. Police officers conducting roadside checks can now instantly verify whether your photo card is current, and you could be questioned if it's expired. While you won't automatically be penalized, it can lead to complications and delays. Renewing your photo card costs £14 online or £17 by post, and the DVLA sends reminders, but only if your address is up to date, which brings us back to the importance of keeping your records current. Let me also address a concern that many of you have raised in previous videos. Some drivers worry that updating their details or reporting medical conditions will automatically trigger a review that could result in losing their license. I understand that fear, but hiding information is far more dangerous and has far worse consequences. The DVLA's job is to ensure road safety, not to take licenses away unnecessarily. If you're honest and work with the system, you'll be treated fairly. If you hide information and something goes wrong, the consequences are severe. There's also been some confusion about the frequency of license renewals for older drivers. Once you reach 70, your driving license expires and you must renew it every 3 years. This is free, but you must declare any medical conditions that could affect your driving. The DVLA is making this process more thorough, and there are reports of more drivers being asked to provide medical reports or undergo driving assessments. This isn't about age discrimination, it's about ensuring that everyone on the road can drive safely. If you're approaching 70 or you're already in the 3-yearly renewal cycle, make sure you respond promptly to any requests from the DVLA. Delays in providing information can result in your license expiring, which means you cannot legally drive until it's renewed. I've heard from viewers who've been caught out by this, missing important appointments or being unable to maintain their independence because their license renewal was delayed. Now, let's talk about what you need to do right now in response to these 3 changes. First, review your medical conditions and your eyesight. If there's anything that might be notifiable, check the DVLA's guidance online. The website has a clear list of conditions and tells you exactly what you need to report. If in doubt, report it. It's always better to be safe than sorry. Second, check that your address is up to date on both your driving license and your vehicle registration. If you've moved in recent years and you're not certain whether you updated your details, log into the DVLA website and check. If your address is wrong, update it immediately. This takes just a few minutes and could save you enormous headaches down the line. Third, create your online DVLA account if you haven't already. Familiarize yourself with the digital services available and make sure you know how to generate a check code for when you need to prove your driving status. Keep your photo card license in a safe place and check the expiry date. If it's expired or expiring soon, renew it now. I also want to mention that these changes come at a time when the DVLA is facing significant backlogs in some areas. While digital services are generally fast, postal applications and complex medical reviews can take much longer than usual. This means you need to plan ahead. If you know your license is up for renewal, if you're about to report a medical condition, or if you need any other DVLA service, don't leave it to the last minute. Give yourself plenty of time for the application to be processed. One final point that I think is really important. These DVLA changes reflect a broader trend towards more automated, data-driven enforcement and administration. The days of slipping through the cracks or relying on the system not catching up with you are ending. Cross-database checking, automatic number plate recognition, and digital record keeping mean that inaccuracies and non-compliance are much more likely to be detected and acted upon. This isn't about creating a surveillance state or making life difficult for honest drivers. It's about improving road safety, combating fraud, and making administrative processes more efficient. As drivers, we have responsibilities, and these systems help ensure that everyone on the road is legally entitled to be there and fit to drive safely. So there you have it, the 3 key DVLA changes confirmed this week. Medical condition reporting is being strengthened and enforced more rigorously. Vehicle registration records are being verified more thoroughly, with penalties for inaccurate information. And the digital driving license system is being expanded, requiring drivers to engage with online services. These aren't changes you can ignore. Each one has real consequences if you don't comply, but the good news is that compliance is straightforward if you take action now. Check your medical conditions, update your address, and set up your online DVLA account. These simple steps will keep you legal, keep you safe, and give you peace of mind. If you found this information valuable, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with other drivers who need to know about these changes. Subscribe to Smart UK Pension for more updates on important matters affecting people across the UK. Leave a comment below if you have questions or if there are other topics you'd like us to cover. Remember, staying informed and staying compliant keeps you on the road legally and safely. Take action today. Don't wait until there's a problem. Thanks for watching, drive safely, and I'll see you in the next video.